whenever you're ready.
Robbo, obviously we won't see the squad till tomorrow. Can you give us a bit of a heads up regarding any potential movement?
Yeah, look, Sutcliffe, potentially he's been, obviously he got injured when he came from Hull. Did his Liz Frank in his foot. Came back in Malaga and had to give him a bit of extra time off again. He just never seemed to have really recovered with his foot injury, and he's been sort of nursing it. I've been playing him in different positions, been doing a job for us. But it's got to a stage where sort of at the end of every game he's sort of limping around. So I think it's time to give it a rest and get it right. So he needs to get it right because at the moment it's lingering on way longer than it should be. Sutcliffe will be out this week. Obviously, Nye Levels went off. Got the devastating news he were 3 to 4 months, which it's crazy really because he trained with us last week, Denial, and he looked brilliant. He looked absolutely brilliant in training. Really looking forward to being part of his squad and as team. And then a bit devastating really that just in a sort of freak accident he's managed to injure his foot.
And Ollie Wilson's suspended as well, isn't he? What about potential returnees this week?
Yeah, look, Ollie Wilson, one of those where we debated for a long time. Ollie couldn't even remember the incident himself. He couldn't even remember it. Sort of not much in it. He's really important players to us, Ollie. We're contemplating, going contesting it. But what we realised a lot of times is in rugby league and it's guilty. You've got to prove you're innocent rather than innocent until proven guilty. So the video footage were very limited in what we saw. You could see a little bit of the whiplash from the other Wilson that he did it to, but you couldn't really see clear. There were no clear footage really of it doing it, and Wilson couldn't even remember doing it. We had to search and find it. But we just deemed that to lose, we could if you go against it and do lose, and you lose another match. You could, the game could increase. So we thought with the squad that we currently have at the moment, it would be, probably not in his best interest if we lose Wilson for another week on top. Which, unfortunately for us, we thought we're a bit tough on Wilson, but it's probably the way we're going at the moment.
Who do these absentees provide opportunities for then? Yeah,
look. Burgess potentially will be back in this week after being out. So his rehab looks like he could be a potential return. Obviously, we've got Gagai who had a head knock, who could return for us, and we know we've got one or two that are nursing little injuries. This Murch is a little bit of a doubt at the moment. He's been struggling with his knee, and he had an injection in the knee. At the beginning of this week, hopefully they'll clear it up, but we'll have to make a bit of a late call on him. What that does do opportunities, it gives opportunities to some of the younger lads again, Billington and Jack Bibbies, it gives them opportunities to potentially come into the side.
You can just see me shaking my head, can't you?
Yes.
You go through all these injuries and doubts, etc. With Niall out and with players doubtful and out, do you look to recruit again?
I think we've Zach Wolford's out for an extended period of time was really important to us. So's Clooney, so's Kieran Rush. Then when you Niall Evans, named as nines and a potential fullback that when it is your spine, it does makes it very tough. Look, as soon as Penrith are one of the best teams in the world, as soon as they threaten to lose Cleary, that everyone panics like mad. And you've probably seen in recent history, when Wigan lose Bevan French and Jay Field, they don't look the same team. Still an amazing team, amazing squad. They don't look the same team. So when you are missing your spine, it's not just missing the spine. It's building combinations and having some continuity in there. They're the ones that lead you around the park and manage the side. So when you do lose them, it obviously makes it a little bit harder. But it's trying to weigh up whether you can bring somebody in for a limited time, because when you bring players in on loan, you bring a prop in on loan. He pretty much does the same job at nearly every club. He's got to learn the new calls, but his job ultimately doesn't change. When you bring pivots in and spine members in, you ask him to control a team. If that's only going to be for a few weeks, and then you bring them back out, and you got players returning, you've got to weigh up salary cap restrictions. Do we have the capability to bring them in? And if we are going to bring them in, how long are they going to be in for? Until somebody returns. So we are always looking. It makes it a little bit more difficult when they are sort of them in them positions.
So all that rolled in, you've got the leaders on Sunday. What can we expect from Huddersfield?
Oh, they're a really good side at KR, so we've got to show a lot more fight than we did against Salford. I thought we looked really good in nearly every game we played for periods. We just haven't been able to consistently do that. We've got to make sure we are consistent this week, and we've got to make sure that 1 to 17 we are our best foot forward in all the effort-based stuff. They're a bit of a juggernaut at the moment. When I watched the St Helens game, they rolled. Saints are a good side this year. We really experienced players. They brought some real good quality lads into the side as well as Saints, but OKR just rolled them. They just rolled down the field. I think, in particular, outside backs are making massive meters. Burgess, but in particular Davis. He's been, he was a really good player at his time at Wigan at Catalan, but he seems to have gone up another level at the moment. He gets them on the front foot and gets them over the advantage line, and they've got a really good pack, and they've got two very good nines. They've got Mickey, who's playing some really good rugby over the last few weeks, showing some real good energy. Then they bring Litton on, who's fast out of dummy half, got a really good kicking game, really skillful. So, look, they've got strength in depth in every position, I think, throughout their squad. So we've got to do a good job. But I think those two key areas that we need to do a good job on, that's controlling the backfield and controlling the nines.
Obviously, the group's going through it at the moment, aren't they? And obviously, you're the pinnacle of that group. How are you coping with it all at the moment? Are you managing to stay level-headed?
Yeah, I think so. I think rugby league have been involved in it a long time. The ebbs and flows, it's an up and down. And the most frustrating thing for me is getting, my 1 to 20 on the field. And it's not to say that the lads I haven't got after them numbers. The young lads in particular that have come in out doing really good jobs, I think they are, and I think the experience is going to be invaluable for them in later on in the season and next year and the year afterwards. But yeah, that's probably just my frustration this year, is just the amount of injuries, and who it's been to has been really sort of restrictive on the way we've played. But I think we'll be better for it, and the group have been outstanding. Apart from last week, have been outstanding every other. In training and in the games we're playing, where they've put a lot of effort in and put themselves in positions to win games. We just need to nick one, and that's just rugby league. When you're in a position like this, we're not going to win 50-0. It's just going to be a really narrow victory where we just scrape it and we come out the other side.
And is that just really what you're after at the moment? No matter how pretty, how ugly, you just need that W just to sort of get you going, really. Yeah,
of course. Look, I said over and over again when we first started at the beginning of the year, we played really good for long periods, and we just probably a little bit of game management let us down in them games where we could have nicked them. Whereas it gets to a stage where your performance is probably, the fans probably stop. Where it's, I've always said that I'd like to make sure that 1 to 17 put a good performance on for the fans, for themselves, for the family, for the badge. But at this moment in time, it'd be nice just to get a win and get, some points on the board, and you can get some confidence from that.
Just a couple of points before I pass you over. Obviously, the revival of the Ashes has been a big talking point this week. I think the last Ashes tour came a bit too early for you. I think you made your international debut the year after, didn't you? But you have played against Australia in Melbourne, so you know what those sort of games are all about. How significant do you think it is for the sport?
I love Great Britain. It was one of my longest memories, really. Is my dad taking me down to watch at Wembley. I think Sean Edwards got sent off in one game, and off he would shoot the same game where jiffy scores in the corner. You know, or at them games are only young. I think it's great. I think international rugby is the way forward for rugby league. I think we probably don't do enough justice in international. You know, I like Yorkshire, Lancashire. I like Great Britain and England. I think them representative teams are a way that we force our way onto the map. I don't think we force our way on through Super League. I think we force it through international first and foremost. And look, the bigger event we can make it, whether it's England or Great Britain, the better for me.
And just lastly for me, we've got the milestone of the 5,000th Super League fixture on this Friday. I think yours will be the 5,003rd or 4th or something like that. You'd have been young when Super League started. You'd have been like 11, 12, something like that. Can you remember the start of it all and whether you thought it would last 5,000 games?
Yeah, for me, I were very, very young. I was just happy because I'm a smaller bloke, so I like playing in the summer. I like it when the fat lads get tired, and I liked it when, you know, I could use my footwork and speed when I was a kid. So I really like the summertime rugby, but I just thought it was a really exciting time. It was, you know, the crowd. I used to go down to the pub to watch it with my dad, and the pub always seemed to be packed. You know, in the early days, it seemed really exciting with Eddie and Steve and everything else. It just seemed a real good feel about it. And yeah, I think there's been certain things that have been probably we could have done a little bit better, but as a whole, I really like the summer rugby concept.
Well, good luck, mate. Good luck on Sunday. I'll pass you over.
Thank you.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, mate.
I won't keep you long. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
You mentioned the video footage before. Darryl Powell's been critical of that after the whole game last week. Just the in-game replays and stuff like that, and not having conclusive footage and maybe taking too long and taking a lot of energy out of the game. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's a problem with these games that aren't feature games on Sky?
Yeah, look, it feels like you're going back in time a little bit again. You know, it used to be you played different rules in my era where you make sure you're on side off kicks because there's video ref this week, and things of that nature. Whereas, you know, I like the video ref. I like the fact that you get a clearer picture of what happened in the incident. Maybe it's not always correct. You don't always get the correct result, but you probably got more of a chance of seeing it. Sometimes I think the game slowed down a little bit too much, and we can come to a conclusion a bit quicker and keep the momentum of the game going and the feel of the game. My frustration was this week there were no clear evidence of Wilson, and it's a bit like now you can clearly see his head going back. I'm like, you can't see how his head went back. Well, his head went back, so you know that's probably my frustration this week. That, you know, I think there should have been some clear evidence of it, but it's the way it goes at the moment.
Do you feel that an elite competition deserves better?
Yes.
In terms of this?
Well, the game's about fine margins. You know, we've lost a fair few games this year through fine margins, and I'm not saying that's the reason. So you want clear evidence, and at the end of the year, you want hopefully the right decisions being made in games, after games, as often as we can, because the league is so tight that them couple of key moments can make massive implications on actually where you finish.
Yeah, definitely. And just going back to last week, you asked everyone to come together after the Salford game, and then Andy Kelly put out a statement saying similar. Have you come together as a club behind the scenes in this difficult time? Oh,
I've always tried to look. It's been very difficult from, you know, with the pre-season that we had and the personnel we've had on the field, and that's not changed. They've always been pretty good of the group. They know the circumstances that we're playing under, but every week they've actually in training they've been really good. Every week in the games they've put the best foot forward and tried their hardest. It was just in that game we looked really, really flat. I know it was an excuse. We played Sunday, Thursday. Whether that's just an excuse, whether it was a little bit just down energy or not, but they've been really good again this week in training. Hopefully we can put that on the field this week on Sunday.
Yeah, like you said, it was Sunday, Thursday last week. It's Thursday, Sunday this week. So you'll be expecting a high energy performance.
A lot higher energy, yeah. And even though we've got, you know, some players that are carrying niggles and knocks, we've got one or two players that have hopefully come back from from head knock and from an injury, so they'll hopefully carry a little bit of energy for us.
Yeah, no, that's all from me. Good stuff. Thank you very much. All best.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Hi Luke, how are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Has Niall Levels broke his foot? Is that what the diagnosis is?
Yes. He's done his metatarsal. So.
How's he taken the injury?
Yeah, well, as frustrating as me. That's probably the word. Probably a word I've used more often than I should have done this year. But they were really excited to get going, to get on board. He literally had one captain's run with us, which was, we had a really, really short turnaround. So that was the only training session we did that week. We obviously did a recovery review session, but the only time we were on field with that, we were really excited. He looked energetic. He looked like he would have really had something to the side, but unfortunately, yeah, he's just as frustrated as I am that he's out for 3 to 4 months after playing 40 minutes with us.
Cheers, Luke.
Thank
Good luck
you.
for the weekend, mate.
Cheers, boys.